Empire. So today we're going to be doing a review of Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition by Stronghold Games.
Okay, this is a great strategy game. You're kind of card drafting a little bit. It's a point salad game. There is an end mechanism in the game where you get the oxygen and also the temperature at max, and you also do the tiles in the center that will end the game. So the components are way better than the original. The components were lackluster, but this one really did step it up in comparison to the original. I would say both of them. I'm kind of mixed yet. I haven't played this one enough compared to the original. I still like the original better, but this is just a phenomenal game. It also reduces the play time, and it looks really next step in comparison to the original. So we're just going to jump right into the review. What did you think about the rules?
I would give the rules for the rulebook itself, I would give it a 5 out of 5. Like, it is a very good rulebook, but one thing I like the cover is some of the cards were I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5 because I will say there was like one card that was there's like several cards that probably they could have explained it a little bit better. There's one in particular, insects for plants. I'm sure there's another one for heat, but it basically what it does is you produce one plant per plant, and it just showed a plant symbol. So we weren't sure if it was the plant icon on your cards or the plant resource, but it's actually just for per plant icon because it's really overpowered for plant resource because you can just keep on doing it over and over. So it's per plant icon, but they could have explained it a little bit better, like by putting icon above of the plant icon, and that could have cleared it up.
So I would give the rules 4 out of 5 as well because there are some cards a little vague, and we try to look up also in the rule book. It doesn't really specify some of the details on how the mechanic works for them. But the rule book has great illustrations. It's actually a really nice rule book too. The texture and the material they use has card anatomy. It has how to set up resources. It has gameplay. And it shows some mechanics that work. Also, it has end of the game symbols. But some of the cards are just a little vague, so I think further explanation, or like he stated, if they identified it as icons or resources, I think that would have been a better way to help with the mechanics and everything, and so people can understand it. So 4 out of 5. What did you think about the components?
I give it a 5 out of 5. I really like the card quality. They don't bend really very easily. I like how each card says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on them.
The tiles.
Yeah, the tiles. I really like these pieces. The copper, silver, and gold. I really like those. Those are really nice. I also like these little gem-looking tokens, like these two and that one. Yeah, those are some really cool tokens, and I also like how all the iconography is on a card over here. And I really like the player board. Isn't this the base game?
Yeah.
This game almost looks like a deluxe version because of all the components. It has this really nice player board, and also I like this, but it sometimes moves a little bit. Like even if you just slightly move it, these things can move, and that can be a little bit annoying if you don't know where it was before. because let's say like you moved it and it was there and you don't know where it was before, so you kind of have to guess. They could maybe make it a little bit balanced.
Yeah.
This one doesn't move, but this one moves a lot.
Yeah, they should have made probably the same material that board.
Yeah.
And I think that would have kept it flat.
Yeah, I would give the components a 5 out of 5 because this is only like minor changes. As long as you're keeping track of these, you should be fine.
Okay, I get the components a 5 out of 5. I'm not going to go over the same thing, everything he's already stated. I agree with everything he stated. I do wish that, I think the deluxe version has it where these have the grooves, and so these don't move as often. Also, the main board. And for the deluxe version, I think it's only like $5 or $10 extra, which is definitely worth getting at the deluxe version because it does help from your components and resources not moving as much. And so 5 out of 5 in the components, everything's phenomenal. Like the text, the font, it's easy to see and read. Everything is just phenomenal and easy to distinguish from one another. So 5 out of 5. So what did you think about the experience?
I would give the experience a 5 out of 5. We really like the experience of this game. I like the whole play where you choose what you want and going through these each. However, I will say, if you're playing with... Can you play this game with only 2 players?
No, it's 4. 1 to 4.
Oh, yeah. If you're playing this with 3 or 4 players, I will say it may be a little bit chaotic doing the simultaneous play. So to make it easier in the video we did where we have to finish each one. And that seems to work a little bit better because it makes it, because if all players are playing at the same time, you really can't keep track of what's happening. So, but I really do like the whole experience of this game. There's nothing that made it frustrating at all. And it was a really great experience. I will say most of the cards were balanced. That incest card, even though it is that, it still is a little bit strong because for each plant icon, and I noticed that seems to be the most common icon on the card. So I would still be producing probably 8 or 9 per turn.
So I'll give the experience a 5 out of 5. Phenomenal experience. We love the base game. This also has the same feel and a less timely manner. It's easier to understand the cards. I think the base game, the cards were a little bit more vague than this. This game, we just had issues with a few cards in this one. The main base game, there's a lot of cards that were just questionable, and we had to look up a lot of information on the cards. This one has a better flow to it, and so it's just it also has less downtime because like he said, you could do it simultaneously or you could do it one at a time. But even at that rate, pretty much everyone's playing at the same time, and so there's almost zero downtime. And so just a phenomenal game. So what did you think about the mechanics?
I would give the mechanics a 4.8 out of 5. I really did like the mechanics a lot. And I did like how you were getting the money and you have to choose which cards you want. Also, one thing I didn't see any components, I wish there's a little bit more of these because sometimes you run out of the 10s. Once you get so far in this, because eventually you'll get to 25, 30, you kind of start running out of these.
Yeah, they go resources.
Yeah, but I really do like the mechanics of how you're getting more cards. You kind of have to choose which cards you want to keep, which ones you're going to sell. And you have to be mindful of the heat to make sure that you kind of want to choose when you want the game to end. I think it would be good to save up the heat or some cards near the end because once you're in a spot it had like you were pretty confident you were gonna win, then you used to like increase the heat and oxygen a bunch. So when they can't really catch up with you.
You don't want to do that because if you wait too long, your TR rating will suffer, and your opponent would be able to surpass you in TR.
Yeah, what I meant is when you're like higher in TR. But I will say one thing in this game though is that it seems to be there's always one player who is like way ahead of the TR track than everyone else. We've played like 2 games and that's happened both times where there was one player who was like I would say like 10 like ahead of the other players, and there's not really that many ways to score apart from the TR track. I would say that's like 70-80% of your score right there is from the TR track because the cards
also the
oh yeah, those are good as well, but it's kind of hard to get the resources to get those. But the cards really don't give you that many victory points. Like I would say, I was maybe like at the beginning of the game, I was able to get like 2 or 3 victory points off of the cards. So it really does seem like the main victory point way is the TR track. I also really like the how you're picking which phases you want, and you have to like make sure that you're also not helping your opponent in picking those phases as well. And you're trying to help yourself the most. And all of them are really different. And I would say probably the best ones are probably the either the action or the research. Those are really good ones every time they came up. And I like how you keep on the progression with this game is actually really good. Because every like couple or so turns, they'll start producing more and more resources and kind of like building up with more and more cards. And this game definitely has a good progression system. So for me, I would give the components
mechanic.
Yeah, mechanics a 4.8 out of 5.
Okay, I give the mechanics a 5 out of 5. I really like Terraform Mars. I like the base game. I like this game. I think what he hit on the most was the progression. That's what I like about this game the most. Because you're starting from nothing and you're building. It's almost like a city builder, but it's more. Yeah, it's more like a resource, almost like you're building a machine or a factory, and that's the way I look at it. It's almost like because you're collecting all these resources that will help you progress through time in the game, and as you progress through more, you're able to do more. As you pick up cards, because the cards are once you place them down, they're permanent. So you're collecting from those cards, and they have abilities, everything, and so you're constantly growing your tableau, which tableau means pretty much your area of where you're placing stuff and you're collecting resources, able to do stuff, and so you're able to build it, and it just keeps growing, and so. And the game ends fast. Once you get to mid-game, you're looking at probably 15, 20 minutes in the game because once you get there, it skyrockets in the time it takes. So although at first you feel like it's going slow, it takes off really fast.
Yeah, because you're producing more and more resources each turn, which makes it go. But actually, another stop point is the theme of this game. It's basically Terraform Mars, and it's basically a progression system to Terraform Mars and get the most points, which is basically contribute the most to Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, so pretty much what I would say is it takes 60 minutes, but I think if everyone understands the game prior to starting the game, and has played it a few times, this game, I would say probably takes 45 to 50 minutes because it's just so fast once you get mid-game. You're literally looking at 15, 20 minutes. Before you know it, it's done. So 5 out of 5 mechanics. What do you think about replayability?
I'll give it replayability. Easy 5 out of 5. There's so many cards. There's like 200 cards. We had to split it between 2 decks. Yeah. There's so many cards. It states in the box there's like 200 or so cards. And all of them are pretty much different. They're all different. All of them do different things. And some of them are cheaper or more expensive. Another thing I didn't say in the mechanics is I like how some of the cards are cheaper and more expensive. And you kind of have to decide based on your current like money how how much money you've made. If you want to go for the more expensive, which is normally the better card, or you want to get the cheaper cards, which you can play more of. And even though there is kind of several decisions, the game really doesn't have that much downtime because you'll be deciding pretty fast on what you want to do. So I really do like the replayability. Also, the cards, there's all different ones. There's green, red, and blue cards, so you'll be able to play them on different phases. And even though, like, once you have a lot of money, you'll be playing like 2 to 3 cards per turn, you really don't go through the deck that much. Because we were, like, I would say we barely even got halfway through the deck last game.
Yeah. Okay, so I give the replayability like a 5 out of 5. High replayability. It does take probably like, I would say 10 to 15 minutes for setup and teardown. That's the only downside. So you need to factor that into your gameplay. There are, like he stated, a lot of cards. One thing I forgot to mention, the mechanics. There are a lot of cards that you're able to combo off each other in the game. And so that's phenomenal. And that helps with the scoring and everything. And like I said, this is a point-style game that just progresses, and there is an end game mechanism in the game. So 5 out of 5 replayability. Also, there's an expansion currently on Kickstarter, and as the original game had many expansions, I think they had like 5. I'm guessing this one will actually have more because it's easier to implement into this Terraforming Mars as opposed to the other one.
Yeah, on Kickstarter, it's currently free expansions, and I've already like funded I would say 3 to 4 times the amount. I don't know. The last time I checked, they got over $600,000. So I can say that they're definitely probably going to make a lot of expansions for this game.
Yeah, this I would say is the better kind of the two, because the other one takes more time to play, so it's hard to get on the table. This one has a 60-minute time length in gameplay. Like I stated, it probably takes 45 to 50 minutes if each player knows how to play it. And it doesn't really add to the time when you introduce more players because you're working simultaneously. And so it actually, I think, would take less time to get the more players you have, because you're progressing the oxygen and the heat and also the tiles and the water tiles in the center faster. So I think you would get to the end game faster if everyone knows how to play and is able to play at normal speed. And so just high replayability, 5 out of 5. What did you think about the overall total?
Before I go into rating, I'd like to say this game I was able to pick up very fast actually. I would say the third turn, I understood how to play. I would say if you're gonna get the 2 Terraforming Mars, you should probably start out with this one.
Yeah, it's the third one.
Yeah, plus this one's probably more beginner friendly to board gamers. This is definitely not a gateway game. It still is a little bit tricky for new people board gaming. But if you've tackled some games that are a little bit tricky, then I think you should be fine with this game because it's really not too complex once you've played a couple rounds of it. You kind of get the understanding of it.
Yeah.
So overall, my rating, I would rate it a 4.7 out of 5 and a 9.7 out of 10. This is one of my favorite board games of all time. The progression is probably one of the best progressions I've ever seen in a board game. How you start from nothing and you just keep on progressing, making more resources, and overall, it's also not too long of a game. That's another thing in board games. If it's too long, it won't make it to a table much. But this game actually is pretty quick.
Yep.
So you'll be able to play it a lot. I definitely think this is a game that once we get the time to play board games, you'll definitely play this game a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so I give it like a 4.8 out of 5 and like a 9.8 out of 10. Just phenomenal game. Only issues I had, I think some of the rules or some of the cards can be a little bit fine-tuned, so they're not as vague. implement into the rule book where you could look them up, and so you could figure out what they do.
That would be pretty hard though, considering there's over 200 cards.
Or you could put it on the website or BGG, and so you could put it where a file on BGG, and then people who want to can print it themselves, and then able to that way they can always look up the information. But just a phenomenal game. It really is one of the best strategic games you can find out there. And just like the predecessor, the original one, this is like he stated, it's more, game or beginner, gamer friendly. It's less time to play. The original one had the same amount of time for setup. It took a while to set up, tear down. This one has the same. So this is, I think if you're starting out, this would be the better of the Terraforming Mars. And then if you like this one, I don't know if it's worth getting both at some point. The original has more of a strategic element to it, but it's very close in nature, both of them.
Yeah, it's a little bit luck-based, but there's still a lot of strategy. But it's luck-based when you're drawing the cards, but I will say some cards are pretty, they can skyrocket. There's one now there's 2 cards I got at the start of the game that instantly raised my TR up to 4. Mm-hmm. Up to the 4. So, I start here. I was already here at the start of the game, so that was kind of a head start that I got lucky on. But there really is lots of strategy.
Yeah, they're just like any game has a luck-based factor. This one I think has less of one because you're able to get rid of your cards, and you're able to get cards that allow you to gain more cards each time you do the research, and so you're able to fine-tune your hand and also your tableau. So this one has a lot of strategic element to it. And so just a phenomenal game. Like I said, 4.8 out of 5 and 9.8 out of 10. Just
4.7 out of 5, 9.7 out of 10.
Yeah, we love this game. We love the Terraform Mars games. They're really good. The best of the best. And so if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Social media is down below in the description. We'll have a link of where to buy the game. And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye!